We are recording, and we're only doing it from the phone this time.
Single camera. That way I'm not looking at the camera over here that doesn't do shit.
So it's single camera today. This is the story so far. This is Aaron,
And Matt.
and we welcome you to the show this week. You got some stuff you want to talk about? Because I've got one big thing that I really will be branching off on a little bit of a rant on.
VMAs.
The VMAs.
Well, before you get off subject on that, what do you think about Ben Affleck as the next Batman?
As the Batman, you know what? I liked him as the Daredevil.
No, he did a shitty Daredevil.
It wasn't him. It was the story.
Dude, the whole movie was horrible, but he's a horrible actor.
Oh no, he's a good actor.
No.
You should see some of his latest flicks.
Dude, the only thing Ben Affleck is good in is nothing.
So watch
Nothing.
Watch The Town. A movie
I've
called
seen
The
The
Town.
Town.
Dude, that is a good movie.
I don't like Ben Affleck.
Oh, I think that he'll do a good job.
I think he's a douche.
Well, I think he'll do a good job.
Well, I mean, we'll see. I just don't have.
I think you'll be pleasantly surprised, but this is coming from a man that doesn't really like watching movies.
Well, I'm getting more into movies, dude. I watched some really cool movies this past week. Secret Window with Johnny Depp. I'm a huge Johnny Depp fan, and I'd never seen Secret Window, so the wife introduced me to that. The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. You ever seen that, dude?
No, isn't that about a kid in the Holocaust?
Yeah, it's about well, the main story is actually about a kid whose father is a German Nazi, and they end up living basically on a plantation right down from one of the internment camps, and the little Nazi kid becomes friends with the little Jewish kid, and it is, dude, it's an awesome movie.
Yeah.
Awesome movie. But I just don't know, dude. I'm just not an Affleck fan, dude. I'm just not.
Well, I got to tell you, I went out and saw, on my trip to Indiana, I went out and saw Kick-Ass this weekend. And I got to say, if you're a fan of the first one, I think you'll like the second one. I really enjoyed it myself. It was very funny. I got to tell you, Jim Carrey, in the scenes that he's in, he really does a great job in that movie.
Is he in a good portion of it?
He's in a pretty good portion of the movie. So, and listening to the Geek Show podcast yesterday, I was listening to it, the one that they did this weekend. They reviewed it and talked a little bit about it. And there were some scenes that were changed from the actual comic book to the movie, but they reference those scenes. And they do it by making fun of them.
Really?
Which I thought they did a good job of, because actually having those scenes in the movie, I think would have been terrible. Overall,
Terrible, like just shitty scenes, or like.
I think it would have detracted. You would have been more offended by the scene than, really how it affected the movie. But overall, I thought the movie was pretty good. It's a rated R movie. It's definitely directed at adults, and if you're going to take your kids to it, make sure that they are older kids that
Can handle it.
that can handle that type of a movie. I mean, at one point, and I hope that this doesn't ruin the movie for anybody. So, spoiler alert, but it's not.
Plug
really,
your ears.
It's really not a spoiler. At one point, the main bad guy is dumping some stuff out of his mom's onto the floor out of a bag. And what dumps out are some leather, some whips, some chains, and some anal beads.
S&M, baby.
Yeah, and so he picks up the anal beads. He's picking up everything, but he picks up the anal beads. And as I'm sitting there, it's a sparse crowd in this theater that I was at. But some parents have brought their kids. And sure enough, he picks up the anal beads, and this one kid, "Hey, Mom, what's that?" And the mom's like, "You don't need to know." And honestly, it was funnier than the movie to hear that. But seriously, you don't need to be bringing your kids to the theater to be exposed to that, let alone the language and all the other stuff in the movie. And there are a bunch of other scenes. I mean, there's one scene where he's trying to get it up without going into detail, because we do have little ears here. But he's trying to get it up, manually stimulate himself. Okay, and they're they show him trying, but they don't show it actually happening. You just if you watch the movie, you'll understand what I'm talking about.
He's just got his hand against the bathroom stall.
Again,
Feet are going on pigeon toes.
it's something that you should not be exposing your kids to. All right, and so just parents, please, if you're watching this show, don't take your kids to R-rated movies. They're R-rated for a reason. All right. So that's all I've got to say about it. But being a fan of, like I say, the first movie, I thought that it was good. I've heard other people say that they thought that it was better than the first one. I'd say that's subjective. It's however you want to watch it, but I thought that it was all right. So it's definitely one that I would probably go back and see again.
There's no Nick Cage in this one, so it's got to be better.
He makes passive cameos. Without giving anything away again, I mean, all you see are pictures of him,
Really?
So but you don't actually, he doesn't make any they don't do any flashbacks, as I recall.
Well, that's good.
So,
It's not a Ra's al Ghul type situation then, huh?
No. So, but yeah, I liked it. Like I say, I enjoyed it. And again, that trip was a good trip for me. The way that I did things this time, I ended up not getting hurt as far as my gout, because normally I'll go in and I'll just push myself really hard and not worry about my gout acting up, and by the time I come back,
You can barely move.
I can barely even move. And this time, had a great trip. If you guys have seen my video from the beach, I was able to go down to the beach to Michigan Lake.
And if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's out there floating around.
Yeah, I actually didn't post it on the Story So Far page, so you have to go to the YouTube page to find it. I did post it on my personal page. So
I believe I posted it on mine too. I think I shared it.
yeah, you did. So, and speaking of that, sharing videos, if you guys are watching this, please share the video. Don't just like it, but actually share it, because by sharing it, you're exposing more people to it rather than just with you liking it. But when you share it, more people get to see it, and they actually get to watch the movie or get to watch the video. And we ask that, if you're watching this, give us your feedback. I'll tell you, with you guys sharing the video, I mean, our audience tripled over like a period of 2 days of people actually watching the video.
That's good.
Not just people being exposed to it and actually seeing it and then passing on by. That tripled or quadrupled or whatever. So we actually had quite a few more people that actually watched the video than what I've had recently. And that's thanks to people sharing the video.
So big shout outs to those who have shared our video.
Shared it, watched it, we greatly appreciate that. So, and if you're only watching this on, by somebody sharing, look us up on Facebook. It's facebook.com/thestorysofar USA. So
Very nice.
that's how you get to us.
Because we're patriotic.
Well, there's a band out there called The Story So Far.
Yeah, which I didn't know until recently.
Oh, I did. I've known about it, but Facebook gave you the option of actually naming your page instead of being a random number. And so when I did that, I thought, well, I don't know if they have The Story So Far. So I thought, well, I'll be The Story So Far USA.
Are they a good band? Have you ever listened to them?
I think so. I think they're okay. So
Red on Black, they're pretty alright, by the way. I checked them out today.
checked out that new 3-song LP or whatever.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to listen to it
It's
yet.
alright. They're not quite my style of music, but they've got some good songs.
That's the thing is, when we went to their first little concert, we bought their first LP. It was 6 songs.
Well, and that's the cool thing is the link that you put up, you can listen to their first LP off that.
Actually, you got to thank Tiffany for that. She was the one that shared that. So,
Thank you, Tiffany.
but so I like some of their stuff, and obviously, as with any band, you're not gonna like everything.
Right.
So, but
Well, and like I said, they're not quite my cup of tea, but put a little bit of sugar in there and they're alright.
put a little sugar in there. Well, speaking of music, let's move on to the.
Speaking of not letting your kids see R-rated movies.
Oh man, let's move on to the MTV Music Video Awards.
Video Music Awards.
First off, I don't care what you call them. First off, let's speak to that.
They should be called garbage.
MTV started out as a music channel.
Music, television.
Fairly obvious. they've gone away from that, and I'm okay with a lot of the programming they have on there.
Dude, they didn't just veer off course, dude. They
They're-
teleported to a different galaxy.
But like I say, I like to watch a lot of those shows. But it would be nice that, if you stick to your guns a little bit, stick to your roots. You started out as music television, have at least one, if not a few, music shows on there that show music videos.
They show videos at like 1 a.m., but that's about it.
Not everybody's up to that.
I know.
late,
I
So
know.
anyway, so it'd be nice if they had that. They used to have music news shows. They don't have music news shows
Dude,
anymore.
Headbangers Ball. I mean, they used to do all kinds of good stuff.
Exactly. So and it's not like they don't have enough channels. You got MTV, MTV2, VH1, VH1 Classics.
Well, even their country channels, CMT and things like that, they don't show much music.
Exactly. The only channel that they've got that's related to them, and I don't even know how it's related, is Palladia. And the reason why I know that it's related to them is because it talks about stuff that for VH1.
So it is an affiliate.
It is an affiliate somehow. I don't know if it's owned by them or not, but I mean that is a great music channel. I watch concerts and different music shows on that all the time. But at any rate, so now we're talking about the VMAs, and watch the whole show. I haven't watched it in 3, 4, or 5 years. It's been a while since I've seen it. I've caught bits and pieces of it at times, but I haven't just flat out sat through it and watched it. But for this year, my wife and I decided we'd sit and watch it. Terrible. It's a terrible show. I sat down looking to see stuff from all genres of music, and all I saw were teeny boppers from pop. I think they actually did have some rap awards, which I think Macklemore and Ryan Lewis won, so props to them because I really like them.
Dude, I really like Macklemore.
But other than that, it was just pop music. That's all that it was. And then their performances were all pop music. The only person from any sort of rock and roll anything that I saw was Jared Leto from 30 Seconds to Mars, and he introduced Kanye West. That was it. It's totally stupid. Speaking of which, that dude is growing his hair out. Jared Leto.
Is it long again?
It's down to here.
It's probably for a role.
Possibly, but I mean, he's grown it out.
Because he's had it long, had it shaved, had it mohawked, had it. I mean, that dude's always had hair.
But that was the only rock anything they had on there. I mean, back when I used to watch the VMAs,
It was all rock.
they had rock. Well, they had rock, they had pop and everything.
Right, but they had a lot more rock than what they could even
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing there today. I mean, and when you look at rock music, you've got hard rock, soft rock, alternative,
Because you've got so many different genres of rock and roll these days.
just of rock. But
Yeah.
I mean, you can at least represent it as rock and roll in at least one category.
Well, look at back in the '90s. I mean, even when they were doing more of the rap metal scene with guys like Rage Against the Machine and Limp Bizkit and Powerman 5000, at least they were still being represented as rock. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
You don't get
even at that
now.
time, though, you're representing those genres, but then you're also representing pop music
and,
with
right.
with all the boy bands and all that.
Yeah, NSYNC and Backstreet Boys.
And now there's nothing as far as rock goes. It's just straight up, and it's not pop music that adults enjoy. It is teeny bopper music. And as I stated on my Facebook, man, if I really wanted to tune into the Teen Choice Awards, I would have. And that's basically what it was, all except for the Miley Cyrus fiasco. So
That was something else.
it was ridiculous. I
I
mean,
mean, her fucking flipping Hank Hill looking ass. I mean,
and that is the meme that's going around the internet is Hank Hill. But it was funny because in the pre-show they were talking about some of the shocking moments from the past, and the one that they keep bringing up is the Madonna Britney Spears kiss. And for whatever reason, she thought that she had to go and outdo them by being even more shocking. And there's a point where you can be shocking and be popular or whatever, but then there's a point where you just get to the disgusting. And she just turned way disgusting in that segment. It was ridiculous.
Well, and just some of the obscene gestures. I mean, the whole ordeal with the foam finger and all that. It was just, it was unnecessary obscenities. I mean, it wasn't, you know what I mean? It wasn't like it was just ridiculous.
She took it way over the top. It was
Yeah.
it was just way too much, and I would be fully embarrassed if I was her. I'd be putting out an apology.
So here's my question: is do you think that MTV told her go out there and be a little risque, and then she just blew it out of the water and went too far with it, or do you think that was planned, or do you think that was all her, or?
I think some of it was probably planned, but yeah, I think that she definitely took it over the top. I think that she thought, well, you know, I've got the spotlight, now I'm just going to take it and run with it.
Yeah.
So, and I think that she just made some bad decisions there. But, you know, in all honesty, it's actually helped her latest CD sales and that.
No, it doesn't surprise me.
So,
I mean, sex
it
sells and
it does.
controversy sells.
Controversy does sell, and it sold. And I mean, she there is no such thing as bad press. You
Not
know,
these
any
days.
press that you get is good press, whether it's good or bad. And I'll tell you, she is the talk of the town right now.
Well, we're wasting our breath talking about her.
We are. So, but yeah, I mean, and then the other thing that I want to talk about is all throughout the night, and whatever performance was happening, they always show, you know, they show you crowd shots. I got to tell you, I got sick and tired of seeing Taylor Swift. Because it was like they'd go to the crowd, and that was it. It was Taylor Swift, Taylor Swift, Taylor Swift.
You know what
on
I've decided?
everything.
Taylor Swift is the pug of the human race. Because that bitch looks like she ran into the back of a parked bus. I'm telling you, dude.
And I'll tell you, speaking of dogs, she is a bitch.
Yeah, she is.
I mean, literally, she got an award for her song, which was "I Knew You Were Trouble,"
Right.
and as she's accepting the award for it, she's like, "Well, thanks to you know who you are. I'm not going to flat out name you, but I wrote this song about you, and guess what I got? You know, rubbing it in, and apparently it's about Harry Styles from One Direction." But
Oh, really?
yeah, who was in attendance? He
Yeah,
was-
oh, yeah.
But, you know, it was just, it's ridiculous. Okay, well, great, you got the award, you wrote the song about him, everybody knows you write songs about your exes. Why have you got to continue to rub it in?
Good on Harry, dude. He hit it and quit it and got the hell off that flagship. So,
I guess.
I mean, good for him.
But, yeah, you know, so, I mean, that was quite a bit of what bugged me about it. You know, there were some artists that I thought that should have won that didn't win. I really thought that Pink was up for a few awards.
And she didn't win at
And
all.
she didn't win anything. And it's funny because when you watch it, you know, like when you watch the American Music Awards or whatever they used to be, when they show the nominees, you know, they show the nominees in the crowd.
Right.
Well, at this one, they didn't show the nominees in the crowd because 9 times out of 10,
They're not there.
when they were announcing, you know, your nominees are, yeah, most of the people that were nominated weren't there. It was only the winners.
No
which,
shit.
Yeah, which I think is bogus. So it's gone way downhill. It's the last time I'll ever watch it.
They'd have to do something pretty spectacular.
They would
for
have
me
to.
watch
I mean, but it's just like with their programming. They've just gone completely away from what it used to be when it was actually a good show to watch. So,
Yeah, well, and even back in the day when they started showing, I mean, because they ran things like Beavis and Butthead and stuff like that, and that was okay. You know what I mean? Throw in a few different things just to keep it from getting monotonous. But dude, nowadays, it's
like I
dumb.
say, I'm fine with them having a lot of the
Some
program
other
they've got,
shows.
but
Yeah.
bring back your music.
At least a couple of shows. I mean,
Yeah.
something to go over, you know, the top 10 Billboard hits or you know what I mean? Something to get music back in the programming and just to, like I said, even break up the monotony from all the reality bullshit they've got on there these days.
Exactly. So, you got anything else you want to talk about?
Let's talk about, no, not really.
Alright. I do have one other story that I found today. I always look for good stories, but this one.
He looks. He doesn't find them very often, but he looks.
Oh, I find them, but this one, I usually only try to bring one or two to the table because we usually have a bunch of other stuff to talk about. But this one really caught my attention because it's about a missing teen who was fascinated with the movie Into the Wild.
Good movie.
Yeah, exactly. That's why this one really caught my attention, is because I really like that movie.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that I own the movie and I own the soundtrack to it. I mean, I know I own the soundtrack, but I'm pretty sure that I own the movie too. But it was a good movie, and this teen, he was missing for a while, but he was found dead. His name was Jonathan Kroom. He was 18, and he was really into the movie and was depressed and all that. And apparently, he'd been talking to his family and friends about the movie quite a bit since he'd watched it, and actually watched it over and over and over again.
Became pretty obsessed with it.
Yeah, and so he went on a trip up to Seattle to visit a friend, and last week he was supposed to return home in Arizona to go to college. Well, he didn't return home, so they started a manhunt for him, and they found his car in a little town in Oregon, and it took him a few days, but they found his body, which was only 1,000 feet away from his car.
Wow.
And the thing about his car is that it wasn't out in the wilderness. It was
on
right
the side of the road.
Yeah, and it was right near this a town. So it wasn't like he had followed what happened in the movie and actually went out into the wilderness, ditched his car, and
Got eaten.
yeah. In the movie, the main character who the movie was based off of in real life, his name was Chris McCandless, and he left his car, traveled to Alaska, where he died, and I definitely recommend anybody going and watching that movie. It's a really good movie. But please don't go out and try and copy the movie. But other things about the boy was that he was totally unprepared for wilderness travel. In his car, he had some sweatshirt and a blanket and a gallon jug of water, but on his body, he had nothing. So just the
the
clothes on
sweatshirt
his...
and a blanket and a gallon jug of water didn't get you very far.
but yeah, I mean, he just had the clothes on his back, and I guess his dad said that he'd only been camping maybe once or twice in his life.
Oh man.
So don't attempt to go and do something if you're not prepared. At least do your research on it. So, but yeah. So I mean, it like I say, and there's been other people that have tried to make that journey. They've watched the movie and then actually tried to do it the way that Chris McCandless did it, and a bunch of them have had to be rescued. There was actually a lady that had made it up into Alaska and actually drowned in one of the rivers.
Wow.
So, but up in Alaska, the reason why everybody goes to Alaska is because where Chris McCandless died was in this bus, and they call it the Magic Bus for whatever reason. But it was a bus that had a stove in it and a bed and everything. It was basically just a little camp spot, and he'd found it and tried surviving there for a while, and ran out of food and different things because, again, he was unprepared for the conditions. And so when he tried to leave, a bear actually was around his camp.
Ate him.
No, it didn't eat him.
He
He starved to death trying to wait out the bear.
Really?
Yeah, the bear would not leave long enough for him to try and make a run for it.
I thought he got eaten by the bear.
No, so he just became really sick and weak and ended up dying in the bus. So, but yeah, anyway, like I say, it was a good movie. But so.
I have some news.
Well, our live studio audience has some news.
Live studio audience / producer.
Pink and Nate Roos did win for Best Collaboration for Just Give Me a Reason at the VMAs.
Oh, well, that was not on the actual VMAs itself. So,
They announced it during the pre-show.
Yeah.
Oh, it was one of the undercard type.
yeah, ridiculous.
Still.
But I mean, it's good that they won, but still, it was
Somebody like that should get the spotlight
I
way
agree.
before somebody like Miley Cyrus.
Oh, I agree.
No.
Pink's badass.
Mm.
Plus, she used to cook ketamine in her kitchen.
Cook what?
Ketamine. It's an animal tranquilizer that they use to put animals under, but not fully under, when they do things like declines and different things like that. But it's one hell of a
Oh, well, okay, there you have it. So,
Not that I know or anything.
well, we're going to go ahead and go with Aaron's iPod this week.
The song of the week. Don't let it bullshit. It's called the song of the week
It is the song of the week.
from Aaron's iPod.
And this is an oldie, so I'm not going to announce the.
But a goodie.
I'm not going to announce it yet. I'm just going to start it up and kind of surprise you here because I just barely re-downloaded this probably about 2 to 3 weeks ago.
CCR.
No, I've had them though.
Listen to the rain falling day by day.
This is a good song. I haven't heard this song in a long time.
Listen to the rain falling day by day by day.
This is off their acoustic album, huh? Well, for those of you that don't know, it's Godsmack.
You know the song.
Oh.
I hear you calling.
I don't remember what it's called.
Voices.
It is Voices.
It's Voices.
I was trying to think about that. I used to love this album, dude.
I know. I lost it in the divorce.
Did you?
I did. I lost it when I got divorced, and you know, something made me think of it. And I was like, oh man, I got to get that album. Oh, it's because I already had one of the songs already on my iPod.